Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarini Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Guruve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamalini Namaha Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajangriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoya Sadhu Sangha Krishna Prema Janmaitena Puna Mukhya Anga Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana Mathura Vasa Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana Sakala Sadhana Shrishta E Pancha Anga Krishna Prema Janmaitena Puna Alpira Sangam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So thank you again for taking out your valuable time. Last week we could not meet because we had some other services. I'm sure you all missed it. So we will first take a few points, a quick recap from what we discussed last time. We started chapter 8, if you remember. So if anyone remembers what we studied 2 weeks back, is the time to share your sentence or to anything you want to share what you remember last time. We discussed from chapter 8 till text 8, right? Anyone recalls what we read?
Krishna Prabhuji, I think discussed about remembering Lord Krishna at the time of death. So whoever remembers Krishna at the time of death, he certainly tells that we will attain his abode. So
Excellent. That's excellent. So we discuss whatever we remember, we will get that. If we remember God, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, we will get to his abode. If we remember chocolate, we'll maybe born in an ant in a chocolate factory. If we remember, we discussed the story of Kailash, right? He was attached to a property. He was born as a dog in his property. So we discuss multiple stories, all teach the same point. We discuss about the deer story of Bharat Maharaj. He was born as a deer because he was attached to the deer. So in short, whatever we remember. And in the first few verses, Arjuna asked how many questions? Anyone remembers? 8 questions, right? 8 questions. Okay, Avni remembers. And the whole chapter, the acronym is DEAD. That means how to attain the Supreme Lord. The DEAD, the first 4 verses talk about the doubts, and the E stands for the end of life, text number 5 to 8. Basically, whatever state as we discuss. If we remember Krishna, we'll get there. And how will we remember Krishna? How will we remember Krishna? At the end of one's life. By asking devotees that when I'm dying to come and do kirtan. Yes.
By doing ABCDE all through the life.
Yes, by practicing bhakti throughout the life. And that is text number 7 and 8. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. Importance of remembering through practice, abhyasa. If we don't practice the yoga practice or the bhakti yoga practice by chanting throughout our life, every day taking Krishna Prasad, every day remembering Krishna through different ways, like reading Bhagavad Gita, being in the association of devotees, and chanting the holy names, worshipping the deities, going for Harinam, sharing Krishna consciousness. These are all processes. These are all different ways to remember. Then certainly we will remember. What if we can't remember? Then Krishna will give us his remembrance. We discussed that also. That was the first 9 or 8 verses about remembering Krishna throughout one's life will lead one to remember Krishna at the time of death. And that will lead one to get to the highest destination, that is back home, back to Godhead. That is the crux of the first few verses. And now we will go to the next verse, which is text number 9. So, like always, if you are interested to read, you can raise your hand, and so we can go in a smooth flow. So we'll start with who wants to read? Anyone wants to start? Ryan is present today. Thank you for joining. We're so blessed to see you. Thank you. Yes, Vedi, please.
Krishna. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anur Aniyam Sam Anusmaridyaha Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Translation: One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Haribol.
Thank you. So, from text 9 to 13, there are different ways of remembering the Supreme Lord are shared, right? And this is quite similar to the Dhyana Yoga process, which we discuss in, or the Ashtanga Yoga process. There's a nice summary of this here in trying to remember Krishna. Yeah, 9 ways to remember Krishna. This 8 point, actually it's 8.9, not 10. But anyways, I'll cut that later. So let's focus on the words here. Kavim. Kavim means omniscient, the one who knows everything, right? Krishna knows past, present, and future. We have discussed this many times, that we don't remember what we ate 3 days back in lunch. We have to really think. If I ask 3 weeks back, then you have to really think. And if I ask 3 years back, forget it. right? Can anyone tell what you ate 3 years back in lunch? It's very hard. What to speak of even 3 weeks back will be very hard to tell specifically what I was doing 3 weeks back at 11:30 a.m. It's very hard, right? But Krishna knows past, present, and future. There's a very nice verse which is not coming to my mind at this point, if you remember. Bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kashchina. So he knows past, present, and future. Then Puranam. He is the beginningless or the oldest. He is the cause of all causes. He is the origin, the Adi, Govinda Adi Purusha. We discussed that in so many verses. Then Anushasitaram. Anushasan means to keep in control or discipline. Right? That's the real meaning of Anushasan. So who is the real one who is keeping everything under control? The cause of all causes, the controller of all controllers. He is the Supreme Lord. One may say, well, the demigods are the controllers. Yes, they are controllers, but they are not the supreme controllers. The weather, in some places it's hot, sunny. In some places very cold now. Some places it's snowing now. The demigods are, based on the geographical location, based on the karma, a lot of factors. This is all happening. But who is the master controller? The master Anushasitaram is the Supreme Lord. So these are different ways we can remember Krishna. Like we discussed in the 7th chapter also. And in chapter 10 also, Krishna mentions that he is the taste of water. Amongst the mountains and Himalayas, amongst the snakes I am Vasuki, amongst the Akshara I am the things like that. Basically, whatever, we try to see, we try to feel, we try to meet. Intelligence of the intelligent, strength of the strong. Balam balavatam chaham, 7:11, very famous verse. So whatever we see, basically, we can try to remember Krishna in different aspects, even indirectly. Of course, directly the Supreme Lord manifests as deities, as the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, which we are reading as Krishna Prasad. Prasad, one devotee said, Prabhu ke Sakshad Darshan. Prasada. It also means mercy. Ano aniyam. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham. He is present in the smallest of the smallest particles. Mahato mahiyam. He is present in the biggest of the biggest. Right? Sarvasya dhataram. Dhata is maintainer. Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. Vedyam pavitra omkara riksam yajurevacha. Krishna says also in Bhagavad Gita, I am the dhata. Here also it's saying sarvasya dhataram. He is the maintainer of all. Is he the maintainer? All means everyone. There are wild animals in the jungles of Africa. There's big elephants and big mammals, and they eat tons of food every day. Does anyone of us go every day to provide them food? Right? Who takes care of them? Right? The Sarvasya Dhata. Krishna, the supreme maintainer of everyone. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. A foolish may think, oh, if I don't provide for my family, they will die of hunger. Right? I am the controller. I am the doer. But actually, we are not the doer. We are the husband, the controller, the parent may think that I am the real maintainer. One time what happened? There are multiple stories in this regard. One time a husband, of course, we're not saying to imitate this story, but to understand the concept. The husband asked the wife that, I want to take sannyas, by the way, which is very, very rare. So don't feel scared. So the wife said, well, I have the baby in my womb. Wife was also very self-realized. Husband was also. So let the baby be born and let the first few months pass, which are a little critical. And then you can take sannyas. Okay. Okay, so they agreed upon this mutually. They agreed, which is very rare. This is not talking about the present situation. This is way back, way back in a different yoga and time. These days, it's very rare and it's not even recommended for neophyte, especially. So the point is, they both agreed, but now during the course of childbirth, unfortunately, the wife passed away. Right? Happens sometimes. Some critical things happen. So, child was born. Now it was kind of in a dilemma what to do, because he was supposed to take sannyas, and the wife was supposed to raise the baby. But now the baby was pretty much, on the father. And at that time, he was thinking that, what should I do? He was in a dilemma, in a confused state. So he saw, right over there was a lizard. On the wall, there was a lizard. And the lizard gave birth to a baby. And the baby fell down. And that very moment, a tiny insect came in front of the baby lizard who was just born. She didn't go to school, or he or she, whatever babies. The mother didn't give him a coaching class how to eat. But the baby had the intelligence to open the mouth and get that insect in the mouth. Now, who gave that intelligence? Sarvasya Dhatara. Krishna is the supreme Dhata. He is the supreme maintainer of everyone. And at that very time, he learned that it is a lesson. And then he left the baby in the temple. And after that, about 30 minutes later, a couple who had no child were looking for a child. They came to the temple and they took it as Krishna's mercy and then adopted the child. So it worked out for everyone. And there are multiple such stories, real stories as well. So of course, we're not saying to imitate that, but the point is to understand that I'm not the maintainer, I'm not the doer. The real maintainer, the real master, the real Dhata is Lord Hari, Lord Shri Krishna. Achintya, he is inconceivable. We cannot understand Krishna's Janma Karma Chame Divyam. It's very transcendental. So it's not easy to understand. Rupa, very, very important. Rupa means form. Rupa means Krishna has a form. Krishna is not some light, some effulgence. Effulgence comes from the effulgent. Effulgent is the Supreme Lord. Effulgence is the energy of the Lord. The energy comes from energetic. Aditya Varnam. Aditya is referring to the sun. So he is luminous like the sun. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andakar. Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. Krishna Surya Sama. Wherever Krishna is there, the darkness cannot be there. So Bhagavad Gita is also Krishna in one form, in his Shakti, in his mercy form. So wherever Krishna is there, like the sun, the darkness of ignorance cannot be present. And Tamasa Parastar, he is transcendental. Para. He is transcendental to this Tama. To this Tama means darkness or ignorance. He is above all that. We have discussed that earlier also. He is the controller of the three modes. He is not in the influence of the three modes. All the three modes are his servants. Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. He is in Shuddha Sattva. Or completely pure. Satchidananda Vigraha. Namamishwaram Satchidananda Rupam. Over there also Satchidananda Rupa comes. These are the ways we can try to remember Krishna. A very important point Prabhupada mentions in the purport, which let's read, which will come in the further verses also. One cannot meditate on the impersonal or void. This is very difficult. The process of thinking Krishna, however, is very easy and factually stated herein. So we can, all these 9 limbs. So we will come to this line after a few verses. Just keep that in your back of your mind, this line, okay? That the process to remember on the impersonal void Brahman is very difficult, but the process of thinking of Krishna is very easy. And how can we think of Krishna? We discuss all these 9 ways. That anytime, and these are like just some of the ways, the deity form, the prasadam, the books, the devotees, the intelligence of the intelligent. When we see the sun, we can think of Krishna. When we see the water in the ocean, we can think of Krishna. When we see the great, let's say, landscape, natural beauty, or some animals, flora, fauna, we can think of the Supreme Lord, that He is the master, He is the supreme maintainer. How does the sunflower turn in the direction of the sun? We should think of it sometimes. Who gave the intelligence that sun is that side? Someone gave the intelligence. There is the touch me not plant, which we used to read that it, you touch it, it kind of, brings the wings or the flap down. We discussed the lizard story, right? There is so much beauty and variety and variegatedness in this 8.4 million species. Who is the master creator behind all that? Who is the supreme intelligent person behind all that? In Krishna's form, we can meditate upon His limbs, His lotus feet, His thighs, His calves, His hands and face. And that's what Damodarashtakam is. Satyavrat Muni is meditating upon the beautiful Rupa. Lasat kundalam gokuli prajamanam muhushchumbitam bimba raktadharam. All these are about the cheeks of the Lord, the eyes of the Lord, the ears of the Lord. There's so many verses. Nama pankaja nabhaya, nama pankaja malini, nama pankaja netraya. All this compared to lotus. Why? So that we can all remember Krishna, His Rupa. He's the supreme intelligent. Even we have to think of someone intelligent, we can think of Krishna is the source behind it. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Ano Aniyam Sarvasya Dhataram, the maintainer. Achintya Rupam, inconceivable, and the personal form. Aditya Varna, like the sun. Tamasa Parastam. So the 9 ways are shared here. And we'll come back to that point. But now we'll move on to the next verse. Yes, Sampada Mataji, want to read, please?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prayana kale manasachalena bhaktayakto yoga palena chaiva prubor madhya pranam avesya samyak satam param purusam upaiti divyam. Translation. One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So text number 10 to pretty much text number 13, Krishna mentions about this process in brief. And we will study all those together. So we will read the next verse and then we'll come all together because they're all linked. As Prabhupada has also mentioned, it's explained in verse 14. So let's read the few verses and then we'll come together and discuss. Yes, Ravani, you want to read? Yes.
Yad aksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yad yatayo vidaraga yad ichando brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravashke. Translation. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkar, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy.
I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Haribol.
Thank you so much. So, Krishna is saying that I will briefly explain. And in the next two verses, he's really going to briefly explain. Sangrahena. Sangra means basically the essence. I shall explain you the essence of Arjuna. What essence? The essence of the Shat Chakra Yoga, where the yogi fixes the life air between the eyebrows. Prayana Kali, at the time of death, Manasa Achalena, Chala, Chanchala, right? Very, very fickle, moving here and there. Achala means opposite. Whenever the word in most cases, it's the opposite or the antonym. So Chala or Chanchala is fickle, moving from here to there. Achalena means completely absorbed, completely fixed, yoga yukta. Manasa, the mind completely fixed. Bhaktya, in full devotion. So that person who fixes the life air, basically the prana, by the strength of the yoga, basically here the Ashtanga yoga is discussed or Dhyana yoga is discussed, will certainly get there. But Prabhupada mentions in the purport that this practice is very difficult. It is not the recommended path. And we have discussed in chapter number 6 also. Anyone remember the challenges or the difficulties or the prerequisites? Why is it difficult? The Shat Chakra Yoga or the Ashtanga Yoga in this day and age, which is Kali Yuga. Anyone remembers why is it difficult or what makes it difficult? Yes, Ravi Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everybody. The requirement for practicing the Dhyana Yoga is one has to be in the secluded place. That's one of the requirement. Then they also have to have a sitting arrangement in a way where they're required to have a different kind of deer skin and not too high, not too low. And also you have to follow the brahmacharya celibacy. So those things are kind of hard and for the Grihastha to follow. That is why it is not suggested or recommended by Prabhupada.
Nice. So you mentioned about the secluded place, right? Going out in the cold weather. Who wants to go in the snow and in the hot loo equipized? Then being completely celibate, so grihasthas are out of question. Prabhupada mentions in 6.13.14 purport, one who, however, follows the regulations of married life, having a sexual relationship with his wife, is also a brahmachari in the bhakti yoga process. Such a householder may be accepted in the bhakti school. I'm reading from the purport 6.13.14. But the jnana or the dhyana schools do not even admit householder brahmacharis. So householder brahmacharis are said, they're those who have a relationship with only their legally married wife, not with anyone, not changing partners like every Sunday this, Monday this, which many people do, or change after every year. Or that's not grihastha ashram. Ashram means the couple comes together, keeping Krishna at the center, having children for Krishna conscious progeny to expand the Krishna conscious mission. That's the goal, to give them Krishna consciousness, to liberate them from the path of birth and death. That's the main purpose of grihastha ashram. But so the dhyana in jnana do not allow householders, in short. And then deer skin, going to a secluded place. And very important point, seeing gold and stone alike, right? We discussed that, gold and stone. Anyone thinks gold and stone alike? Then you can give me some stones which you consider as gold. So just kidding. So the point is, it's Gaurang Prabhu was sharing this as a joke. One person was, if someone throws stones at us, then we'll say, hey, we'll throw bricks at them. Why are you throwing stones? But if someone throws gold at us, even if it's hurting our body, right? Let's say if I hit someone or throw this mouse which is made up of gold on someone, it will hit them, it will hurt them, right? right? But they'll say, no, 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 I'm very fallen. Oh, please hit me more. Please hit me more. And don't ask for these stones back. I'm very fallen. So in short, it's very difficult. And as we discussed in the 8.9 also, Prabhupada mentioned. So multiple places, Prabhupada mentions this point. And here, we read the verse about, so Shat Chakra. Shat means 6. And Chakra means the position. So let me share something. So we discussed that. Yeah. So some of you may have read, heard, or something. There are a lot of so-called yoga schools which promote this practice actually, even till date, right? But the Bhagavad Gita and the Gaudiya Vaishnava school does not promote this practice, not because it's not bona fide, right? We're not saying, this is wrong, but this is very, very difficult and troublesome in this day and age. There are different chakras, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the Agya chakra, which is referred here as the Dhruvor Madhye, Prayana Kale, Manasa Chalena, Bhruvor Madhye. What is Bhruvor Madhye? The middle of the eyebrows, or here referred to as the Agya chakra, or the third eye. Yeah, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, the third eye. So that is the Bhruvor Madhye. So basically, to uplift the prana from the lower chakras to the higher chakras, and ultimately the yogis in the previous ages, they would really release their body from the crown chakra, their Atma. But as we discussed, it is not recommended, applicable, and very, very dangerous. I was hearing His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj explaining. So someone asked this question, is this, so we have heard about this Kundalini Yoga. You've heard about this Shat Chakra Yoga. Is this bona fide? Should we do it? Should we? So Maharaj gave a very firm answer that one can really go crazy by doing these processes, because it is like, especially, we hear some YouTube person speaking this, got some book in our hand about this yoga, that yoga, Shat Chakra Yoga, elevate. One can really cause more havoc in one's life. A lot of people have done that and burned their hands and burned their consciousness actually. So, because this is not recommended, it has to be done under the firm guidance of a self-realized soul. And what the other other challenge, that if one not done properly, it can cause havoc. One's sinful propensities can go topsy-turvy. One's lust can really take over and trouble one to the greatest extent. And in this process, as we have discussed, one may, if done only rightly, under the right guidance, which is very, very rare, under all the right situations, all the prerequisites are also met, very rare, then one may get some mystic powers. And guess what happens? One gets one thing special, then the pride will come. Oh, I'm special. I can walk on water. I can get anything. I can get, let's say, mangoes from Nagpur in my hand, and just the thought of my mind. Then that's also very, very dangerous. So therefore, in multiple ways, it is recommended not to do this practice. And this is the Supreme Lord, the Shastras, Guru Sadhus. I'm not saying these are my conclusion. I'm just repeating what Srila Prabhupada is teaching us here. Also here, mentioned in 8.10, one cannot suddenly remember the Supreme Lord at the death. One must have practiced this yoga system, especially the system of Bhakti Yoga. Why? Because it's so easy, practical. One does not need to change home. One does not need to change the ashram. One does not need to go to the Himalayas. One does not need a deer skin and stand on one leg. One can continue one's job, family, business, whatever situation, whatever city, country. This Bhakti Yoga is so easy, sublime, and practical process. So since one's mind is death is very disturbed, right? This practice, one should practice transcendence or Bhakti Yoga throughout one's life. Then yes, certainly one will get to the highest destination. And Prabhupada is mentioning this. Yeah, let's read this point. Anyone wants to read? Hasn't got a chance to? Yes, very good, please. Others can raise their hand if they're interested to read verses or some text.
We are reading text number 12, right, Prabhuji?
No, this purport, little bit of purport here.
Okay. Unless one practices celibacy, advancement in spiritual life is very difficult. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has announced, according to the scriptural injunctions for this age of Kali, that in this age, no process of realizing the Supreme is possible except the chanting of the holy names of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Wow, this is the essence. The Lord himself came and gave the Yuga Dharma, which is Sankirtana Yajna. Yajnanam Japa Yajnasmi, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and the Supreme Lord came. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Prayajanti Sumedasam. Intelligent people will take to the process of the Sankirtana Yajna, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And yes, it is okay for Grihasthas to practice bhakti, and they have full permission in the Sankirtan Yajna, but that does not mean that one should have unregulated life, right? What to speak of? So any relationship outside marriage or before marriage is not recommended in the Bhakti Yoga process. If one has to marry, yes, there is a process for it. If one has to have children, there's a process for that. And that process is the samskar, vivah samskar. It is not just any like cats and dogs. So in the Grihastha ashram also, one has to practice these principles and follow the process of Lord Chaitanya, which is easy, deprocessed, sublime, and the recommended by the Lord himself. The Lord himself came to give this process. So what other proof do we need? So let's see. We discussed in text 11 two things. Some of the requirements. The requirements are complete brahmacharya. They are talking about the Shat Chakra Yoga, and one who utters the word Om. And Prabhupada mentioned actually the next verse. So let's go to the next verse and then we'll see what is Om. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu, like to read, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and the Pranam of goes to Srila Prabhupada, text number 12. Sarvadvarani samyamya mano hridi nirudhya cha murtyanya adhyatmana pranam asito yoga dharanam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is also a very nice verse. I was hearing about this verse from this great Chaneshwar and Prabhu. So, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind. on the heart and the life here at the top of the head. So that's the Shat Chakra Yoga. But I'll focus more on the closing the doors of the senses. So what is this doors referred to? The dwar? Anyone? What are these doors? Or gates? Dwar, doors, gates, right?
The sense organ, Prabhuji.
Yes, very nice. This body is referred to as city of 9 gates, right? The eyes, the nose, the ears, all these are different gates, the mouth and the senses, right? These are all different gates. Now, gates have a propensity, like what will come inside the gate, what will go outside the gate. In these days, people have gates in their homes. Everyone has gates in their homes. And nowadays, people have like ring and camera and video system or ADT, something, right? Like a security system, right? Some of you may have that. What is the purpose? Anyone want to explain what is the purpose of those gates or those screening mechanism? Yes, Vedi?
To like control or watch over what comes in and out.
Very nice. That's perfect. So for our home, we are watching over who is getting in, who is not supposed to get in, right? If one is, so we will see through the lens of those camera or the whatever app and all that, yes, is it the safe thing to allow to enter in my home or is it not a safe person, correct? If a bear is standing on, you see a bear outside your door and you will gladly open the door, yes? No, right? We won't open the door. You see a person with arms or a person who doesn't look to be safe, we will not open the door. We will call the police and do some action around it, right? Similarly, with our doors of the gates of the homes, we are very careful. And when we see our friend, let's say our close friend, devotee friend has come and we see on the door, then we'll gladly open the doors, right? And welcome them. Yes or yes? Everyone agrees to that? So in our body, also, we should be very mindful and we should be very conscious what to allow inside in my body, in my consciousness, through the medium of those gates. It's not that anything I eat, anything I see, I'll eat it, right? There's no screening, right? If we eat anything, whether it is fit for my mental, spiritual health or my bodily health, then if I don't screen that, then it will be bad. Similarly, the content going through my eyes, right? There is a good content. Reading Shastra is very good. Watching Krishna conscious lectures, videos is very good. Reading scriptures, meeting with devotees, seeing the darshan of the Lord. This is very good content. We should all welcome that content. But at the same time, there is bad content, which you all know what I'm talking about. Same with the ears. The ears can hear Krishna Katha, which is wonderful. We should welcome that, right? And now, what is now in the home? We are checking through ring or ADT or some camera. We are screening that. What is the screening mechanism here? Anyone wants to try? What is that screening mechanism which will help us to be good gods, right?
Our intelligence, Prabhuji.
Our intelligence, very nice. A little bit more on that.
Related to Krishna or not?
Related to Krishna, yes, very nice. Will it help me in my bhakti or will it make me go down in my bhakti? So basically through the lens of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Do my spiritual master permit this? Will the Shastras permit this? Will it help in my bhakti or not? So that's the lens we have to develop. We have to develop our spiritual intelligence to carefully guard the doors of our body, because these, in chapter 2 also Krishna says, anyone remembers the example of an animal Krishna gives to carefully guard what comes in and out through our senses. Anyone remembers which animal you're talking about?
Tortoise.
Tortoise.
Tortoise, yes, tortoise. So tortoise gets the limbs inside when there is danger. When there is something which is not supposed to be taken by the senses, there is danger, we should bring the limbs inside. And when there is a safe situation, we should gladly raise our arms. Like we're in the temple, kirtan, the arms should be wide open. And we should chant and dance and sing and honor prasad. Like the last 2 days we had festival of holy name in the Lachwa. Everyone chanting, dancing, wonderful prasad, wonderful deities. So almost 12 hours every day, last 2 days. That's the place where we should gladly open up our arms because it's a very safe place. But when we are in a vulnerable place, let's say non-devotee association, we should be very cautious in a place where the senses are demanding something because our intelligence may not be sufficiently developed to discern, right? So good association also very, very important. So this is a very nice lesson, so that we carefully guard what goes inside, what goes outside. And outside also, we should be very careful what comes outside from our mouth, right? We should not speak bad words. We should not speak, which will hurt others. We should be very careful in what's going in and out. Be very mindful through the lens of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. Anyone has any comments around it? Any thoughts? So this is text 12, talking about the Shat Chakra Yoga again. But we have already discussed that this is very difficult. So we'll read a little bit of purport here again, because Prabhupada is emphasizing again this point. So maybe someone can read this little portion here. Anyone? Yes, Vinita, please.
Hare Krishna. But as mentioned before, this practice is not practical in this age. The best process is Krishna consciousness. If one is always able to fix his mind on Krishna in devotional service, it is very easy for him to remain in an undisturbed transcendental trance or in samadhi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if you remember in 8.9, also we discussed, and I asked you to keep that line. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. This is very difficult. So Prabhupada is repeating that same point. In just like a few verses back, he said the same thing. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated here in the same point here. The bhakti is very easy, but remembrance on something void, situating our prana at this dhruva madhya, Agya chakra, all these chakra will make one go in chakrajaya. So better than that, right? One should take the easy, sublime, and the recommended process. And we can do this small activity also, right? So for a few, just you can close your eyes and just focus on hearing, and just focus on what I'm asking you to do for next 1 minute. You can all close your eyes and be honest. So don't talk. Just focus on, and then we'll try to understand the difference between the meditation on the impersonal and the Krishna's name form qualities, right? So we can close our eyes for next 1 minute, and first we will try to focus on the impersonal world. So when your eyes are closed, completely closed, back straight, neck straight, head straight, everything straight, body is calm and composed. Think of nothing. Think of nothing. It's impersonal, undefinable. We don't know what we're talking about, but we are meditating upon that thing, that undefined, right? And especially don't let that your homework come into your mind. Don't let your office thing come in. Just think of nothing. Don't let your food come in. No, till you eat for lunch or dinner. Don't let the thoughts of your kids or parents come in your mind. Don't let especially that monkey of mind go here and there. Just think of nothing. Just keep thinking of nothing. Don't think of anything but nothing. In which you don't know what you're talking about, you're thinking of nothing. Okay, that's impersonal meditation. Now, change the gears and mentally take yourself to Shri Giriraj Govardhan. Your eyes are closed. We're at the foothills of Giriraj Govardhan. And we'll do a mental parikrama. So prostrate yourself mentally at the starting point of the parikrama, which is the Anior village. And then you'll continue to walk with a stream of devotees who are chanting and dancing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As we continue to walk, we see the beautiful Govinda Kund on our right, where Indra and all these Ravatas, they all came, Brahma came, they all did the Abhishek of the Supreme Lord. When Indra, after the Govardhan Leela. There are so many other kundas, Naval Kund, Apsara Kund, Surbi Kund. The beautiful Giri Govardhan is on our right. There's a stream of devotees, some are chanting, some are offering Dandavat Parikrama, some are offering 108 Dandavat Parikrama. It's so beautiful, the Govardhan is so beautiful, the weather is so calm and composed, the dust of Vrindavan is surcharged everywhere, which is very pure and transcendental. Everyone is just thinking of one thing, Shri Giriraj. Some devotees are chanting, some devotees are serving others prasadam. It's such a beautiful environment to be in. And we are walking with our friends and family doing that parikrama. The soles of our feet are touching the transcendental sand of Giriraj Govardhan and blessing our body, blessing our consciousness, making us further pure and pure. And then we take 3 drops of water from the Surbi Kund and beg for forgiveness. We may have done many, many offenses to devotees, to the lordships, knowingly, unknowingly. Let's beg for forgiveness. Let's prostrate ourselves again at the transcendental waters of Surbi Kund. And like that, we continue to do a parikrama. And now you open your eyes, right? And maybe 1 or 2 of you can share what was easy, what's difficult, right? Any thoughts anyone has? Anyone wants to say some differences, something you felt? No one?
Prabhuji, like meditating on nothing is very hard, even like experience-wise also, because the mind always wants to anchor on something. And when you say that don't think of anything, the same thing will come to your head. Like if you said don't think of food, food will come in the head right away. But whereas when we are meditating on something, whether it's a your own breathing or as you said the Giri Govardhan Raj and all, so it's like you have something to anchor on. So once your mind is anchored on those one thing, then it's like you can focus and you can meditate. So this is my experience, Prabhuji.
Excellent, thank you. That's wonderful. Anyone else wants to share a point or two? This is really the essence.
It is deviation from all stress.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you please repeat?
I said it is deviation from all stress.
Deviation from all stress. Okay, very nice. So, yeah, anchoring is very important. Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, if our mind is not anchored to Krishna conscious, that boat which is not anchored, right? The mind, the waves of mind will take that away. So that anchor in bhakti is Krishna consciousness. Our whole life is centered around that anchor of bhakti. The day begins with Krishna consciousness and the day ends with Krishna consciousness. This is Krishna consciousness. This is the anchor. Very, very important. So if our anchor is not, and therefore like the empty mind is devil's workshop. This is a famous quote. If we think of nothing, then we will think of something which is not conducive. So better you think of something which is conducive. Sutatam smartavyo Vishnu vismartavya na jatuchit. Savai manah Krishna padaravindu. Therefore, Prabhupada gave this wonderful program of the, there is Mangalarti, there is Guru Puja, Darshanarti, Prasadam, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, outreach, and so much flavor in diversity and variegatedness in our Krishna consciousness. It's not that every day you just have to eat khichdi and then just come and for 8 hours just sit on and meditate and nothing, and you'll get some khichdi at the end. It would have been very difficult. So as Ratanath Maharaj mentions in his book Journey Home, he was also exploring different paths and this path of Zen Buddhism. Before he met Srila Prabhupada, we read a lot of books, met a lot of gurus. Some were nice, some were not so nice, some were cheaters, some were really good. But until he met Prabhupada, he explored really a lot. And some of you may have read his story. So he met sometime one a guru who was teaching Zen Buddhism. Very, very harsh, very, very strict. 8 hours just sitting silent meditation. You cannot move your body. If you move your body, you'll get a stick. So harsh, so strict. Because there is no rasa. There's no joy. And guess what happened? At the night, he was having illicit affairs with other people. What nonsense. And then Maharaj left from that time. So, because the heart becomes hard when there is no real joy or bhakti. So the point here is again and again the same point, that this process is difficult. The best thing is to engage one's mind in the process of bhakti, which is the recommended process. Chanting, dancing, feasting, programs. Therefore, there are so many programs, so many festivals. Rath Yatra, Gaur Purnima, Darshan Chaturdashi. Why? So that our mind, which is very fickle, can keep dancing around in the Krishna consciousness rather than dancing around to the tunes of mind. So this is about the ease and the difficult process. And also the Vaishnavas give a purport. Prabhupada mentions the A-U-Ma, the Omkar, which is referred here at multiple places in Bhagavad Gita. The A refers to the O, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And the Om is the impersonal sound of the Supreme Lord. But that refers in the Vaishnava way, the Supreme Lord. U refers to the Srimati Radharani, and Ma refers to the Jiva. So the Jiva is, with the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord, has to engage in the service of A and U, the Krishna and the Radharani. And that's basically the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hari refers to the Radharani, the energy of the Lord. Krishna refers to the Supreme Lord. Please engage me in your service. Right? So this is the... Okay, so now we will read. We read 13. Did we read 13? Did we read? No. I can't even recall. Who read the last point? Oh yeah, sorry, we read this one, so we didn't read, right? So let's read. Maybe people wants to read this one.
Krishna devotees, Dhanvat Pranam, all Krishna Srila Prabhupada. Text 13. Om iti ekasharam brahma viram mamo anusharam yo prayati tejjan deham shayati paramam gatim. Translation by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. After being situated in the yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So, quite clear here that Om and Krishna are non-different, but it's just the personal sound and the impersonal sound. So the impersonal sound Prabhupada is mentioning is the Om. But what is the personal sound? What is the recommended process? The chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And we just discussed this point as well here, that the Om is the impersonal sound, which is also asking the service to the Supreme Lord and the devotees. But many may not understand this Vaishnava understanding. So when we are chanting Om, also in a lot of mantras like Om Agyan Timirandasya, the Vaishnavas are meditating upon the Supreme Lord and Radharani and Om Tad Vishnu Parampadam, Om Agyan Timirandasya, Om Tat Sat. So we also chant in so many ways these mantras. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. The devotees, one who understands the person also understands the imperson, but vice versa is not true. That's the main point. The personal aspect, the energetic includes the energy, but energy does not include the energetic, right? If one has only the understanding of energy or the impersonal aspect, one may not have understanding of the energetic behind it. But one if has an understanding of the whole energetic is in the complete sense, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, who is the cause, the root, then one understands the Brahman effect also, the Brahman realization, the Paramatma realization. So, again and again, the point is coming, if one chants the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one will certainly get there at the end of one life. And then what is the end of one's life? Throughout one's life, whatever we do, whatever we practice, abhyag yoga, whatever we practice, we will remember that. If we practice Hollywood songs throughout our life, we'll remember Hollywood songs. Very simple. If we practice cricket throughout our life, cricket is our, some people say cricket is our religion and so batsman is our God. Then we'll remember that cricket. Maybe we'll be born in as a ant in the cricket field. We'll watch a lot of cricket matches or baseball matches in the US or something like that. So Krishna is very merciful, isn't it? Whatever you like, he'll give. Whatever we like, he'll give. It's a lot of rasgullas. All over the whole goal in life is just to eat rasgullas. Whether they're offered or not offered, just rasgullas or samosas. Maybe we'll born in a sweet shop. We'll become an ant. The shopkeeper will go. And then whole day we can suck on those rasgullas whole night. So Krishna is very merciful. A lot of options are there. Now let's read this verse, which is very nice, and then we will pause for today. Yes, Ravi Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees. Ananya cheta sadatam yo mama samarti nityashah tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginah. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Hari Bol.
Wow, wonderful. Isn't that amazing? Let's go to the word towards it. It's very important. Ananya Chetaha, very similar to focused attention without deviation. Satatam is not just, okay, morning I'll chant and rest day I'll just do whatever I want. Bhakti is nitya, satatam. Yeah, anyone who, whether male, female, Krishna is not saying only the wealthy people, only the males, only the females, not like that. Whether child, young, old, anyone, poor, rich, male, female, black, white, anyone. Yeah means anyone. Mam, Krishna, Smarati, Smaran, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, to remember the Supreme Lord. Nityasaha, regularly. Nityasaha means regularly. Now, how we will come to the state of regularly or satatam? By practicing every day. Very simple. And to that person, tasya aham sulabha. Labha means to get. or achieve. Labh, same root. So means easy. Do means difficult. So it's not durlabha. But especially the process of bhakti yoga, it's very sulabha. Prabhupada says it's easy for easy. Sulabha. If we are simple, it's simple for simple. If we are very, very theda, then Krishna will show his Tribhanga form and it will be very difficult. Theda means envious, hypocritical, cheating others, very, very lack of faith, lack of surrender, trying to trick others, then Krishna will trick us. Nitya yuktasya yoginaha, that yogi, that bhakti yogi, that devotee of the Supreme Lord, who is constantly doing these processes of bhakti yoga, shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam, then that person will go back home, back to Godhead. Of this there is no doubt. Krishna is very easy to obtain. Krishna is the property of devotees. Ishvara Swabhavir Bhaktir Nalay Aparadha Alpa Seva Bahumani Atma Prayanta Prasad. Alpa Seva Bahumani, little service he considers long. In the other yogas, lot of done is considered very little. In the material life, lot of hard work, very little result, if at all. And that is also temporary, which will go away with the body. But in Bhakti Yoga, little effort, transcendental result forever. Tulasi dalamatrena jalasya chulukena va vikrinete swam atmanam varado bhavashobhani. So even little tulasi leaf, some water, jalasya chulukena va, chulu bar pani. Vikrinete swam atmanam. If someone offers little tulsi, some water, Krishna says, I sell myself to that person. Now, is that very difficult to offer little tulsi and some water? Is Krishna asking, give me millions of dollars, give up your family, give up your job? No. Bhakti is very easy, easy for easy. Simple. And these are different ways. What is tulsi offering? What is giving water? It's a sign of devotion. It's a sign of smarati nityasa. It's a sign of ananya chitta satatam. And there are so many ways, so many examples. Krishna reciprocated. Vijendra was calling. He was in a difficult state. Mata Draupadi. Krishna comes to help his devotee. And Prabhupada is explaining here the different types of rasas also. Shanti rasa as neutrality, in the Dasya rasa as a servant, Sakhya as a friend, Vatsalya as a parent, and then Madhurya. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment. And similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. Wow. Who knows a verse from Bhagavatam about this, which I have asked many of you to learn? Anyone remembers? The Lord does not forget his devotee. The devotee does not forget the Lord.
It Ananya Chinta.
Yeah, that's nice from Bhagavad Gita. This one is from the Bhagavatam. The devotee is in my heart. I am in the heart of my devotee. I think nothing but my devotee thinks nothing but me. Yes, Sampada.
Sadhava vidayam mayam sadhunam vidayam tvaham mad anyate na jananti naham tebhyo manakapti.
Very nice. You refer to the notes and you were able to figure out. Is that? Or you remembered that? It's very good. Very nice verse which we all should learn. That devotee lives in my heart. I live in the heart of my devotees. I think of nothing but my devotees. My devotee thinks of nothing but. This is Nitya Yukta. And how will that happen? Practice. This whole process, this whole chapter is entitled Attaining the Supreme. Right? If you see the title of the chapter is Attaining the Supreme. How will that happen? By practice of trying to practice every day. We're not chanting holy names. We're trying to practice to chant holy names, actually. Because chanting, if we chant one pure holy name, Prabhupada says life is perfect. But the pure chanting will come through different stages. Even in the material life, it's not that if one has to, let's say, perform a great athlete, Olympic gold medalist in 100 meters race. Do they just become like that gold medalist after a day or two or a month? It takes years and years to get there, decades maybe. But a very, very few, thousands, one gets there, right? Based on their sincerity, based on their eagerness, based on their desire, based on their lot of factors out there. It's not that just you say, I want to be a gold medalist in Olympic, and then tomorrow you become a gold medalist. What to speak of bhakti process? Yes, it's easy. Yes, we don't have to change situations, but we certainly have to show Krishna that yes, I am running behind you. That Mata Yashoda was running behind Krishna. Then Krishna, Drishtva Parishramam Krishna, Kripaya Sit Swabandhani. When Krishna saw the Parishrama of Mata Yashoda, then he showered the mercy. Kripa, Kar and Pa. One who will do the right effort will definitely labhyate here. Tasyaham sulabha. Sulabha. Very easy to obtain. What is easy to obtain? Aham. Krishna says, Tasya aham. To that person, I am willing to be sold to that devotee. I will sell myself to the devotee. I will give myself in return to that devotee. Whom? I'll become the servant of my devotee, Bali Maharaj. One who gives himself to me, I will give myself to him. One who thinks nothing but me, I think nothing but them. And so many examples, so many stories, they talk about the same point. What to speak, there is a very nice verse. When who remembers Lord Chaitanya, difficult things become very easy. And easy, smartavyas, what's that verse? I'm forgetting. Sulabha Chaitanya Vipriti Visvitans Sri Chaitanya Namavitam. The first line I'm not forgetting. I'm forgetting another three. I remember. The point here is that Sulabam Durlabam Durlabam Sulabam Bhavi Smartavya. I'll just speak the English. The word the Sulabha and Durlabha come here. So one who remembers Krishna or Lord Chaitanya, Durlabha becomes Sulabha. Durlabham, things which are very difficult to obtain, becomes Sulabha. Vismrite Viparitam Syat. Vismrite, when a Vismaran happens, or we forget Krishna, Viparit. Viparit means opposite. Vismrite, that means Sulabha, things which are very easy also will be very difficult. Sometimes we see in the life of devotees, so many challenges are there. But Krishna gives them the strength and they're able to sail through those challenges very easily. Whether on the other hand, the same challenges, if they would have come in the life of materialist, they break down, right? Either they go in depression, suicides, and they just give up their lives, or they don't have, why. So, but devotees sail through those challenges, understanding what this is very, because Krishna is with us. What's so difficult? So it's a great sense of relief also. Okay, maybe in the last few minutes we can take some thoughts, questions, additions, comments. So many wonderful devotees are present. Thank you for those who joined in the middle. See you. Tasha Mataji, Nirvay Prabhu, Vaswati Mataji, Sima Mataji, Vijaya Mataji, Yashmi Mataji. Thank you. Anyone wants to share any thoughts? So I'll pause here because next verse is also very important. So I don't want to hurry in the last few minutes to cover that verse, but so grateful to all for giving your time to read here the Gita together. Anyone has any comments, additions, or thoughts, corrections, reflections? Please share one or two. What's your take-home message? Yes, Vaidehi, please.
I just have a question, Prabhuji. So, I think earlier you had mentioned about like that impersonal Brahman, but it's not really to do with that. Is this the Brahma Jyoti that's like the effulgence? Is this part of the material world or the spiritual world?
It's a great question. So it's kind of at the boundary. It's at the boundary of the spiritual world. So when the material world, which is the 14 planetary systems, and like that, this is like one iota of material world or one fragment of material world. This 14 planetary system is not all the material world. This is like one universe. Like that, there are millions of such universes. You know, the Brahma Vimohan Leela. There are millions of such Brahmas with millions of heads, some of them. So that's all material world. Then there is the causal ocean, where all these are floating in the causal ocean, or Karanodakshai Sagar, from whose these material universes come, from whose breath, you know, and all the pores of his body as he breathes, unlimited pores, unlimited universes come, which all float in the causal ocean where the Karanodakshai Vishnu is present. Then above that is the Lord Shiva's planet also, Kailash. And then the Viraja river is also there. Basically, the Viraja river is also, the water of Viraja river is also the causal ocean in one way. And at that very transition is the Brahma Jyoti, or the effulgence. And then comes the other planets like Vaikunthas, first the Vaikunthas, where Lord resides in the Vishnu form. So then based on the different rasas, because then the spiritual planet starts basically. Vaikuntha, then Ayodhya, then the topmost amongst them is the Goloka. So in short, it is at the juncture or the transition between the material and the spiritual world, the Brahma Jyoti effulgence. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji, except I thought the Shivji's planet was like above the Brahma Jyoti. I might be wrong about that, but I don't know.
Let me open that page diagram. Yeah, Shivji has actually multiple. Yeah, this diagram shows it very nicely. Yes, the Adi Kailash is above the Brahma Jyoti. Maybe I misspoke. Yeah, you're right. So the Karna Sagar, this is, I'll show you the screen. You're right. You see the screen here? So the Karna ocean and the Karanodakshai Vishnu, who gives multiple universes. Then Krishna's effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, here the Brahmananda. Then Kailash, where Lord Shiva is also present in the material world here as the controller along with Parvati. So Lord Shiva has, you know, like some people have multiple homes, so he has multiple homes. So yes, then the Audarya Dham. Audarya means where Lord is worshipped in more in like reverence. You see Matsya, Varaha, different forms of Vishnu, Narsinga Loka, the Vaikuntha Lokas. Then above that is the different Goloka Vrindavan. This is Lord Ram's Ayodhya. So yeah, back to your question, it's a transition between the material and the spiritual world. Lord Shiva also gives Bhagavatam class in Kailash Dham. And also Prabhupada has mentioned, yes, It is a place where there is no relation or no, it's not the topmost Ananda. It's called the Brahmananda, but one may fall down. At some places, Prabhupada certainly says one will fall down. So the intelligent person is one who aspires for back home, back to God, and to develop a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. Good question and good clarification. Thank you. Anyone else has any other comments or anything, reflection you liked, what you didn't like?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I think what I learned is it's actually very easy to attain Krishna, as like Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, like little bhakti. As you said, Krishna will sell for you just for tulsi leaf. But at the same time, we should hold on to, like as Prabhupada said, hold to my dhoti, I'll take you back. So that's what I thank you.
It's wonderful. Thank you. That's excellent. Yeah, bhakti is easy for easy. Simple for simple. And simple is also a relative term. Right? So I will say losing weight is very easy. Right? Losing weight. Just fast for 25 days. Very easy. But one may have so many desires to eat pizza, pasta, this, that. Fasting for one day becomes very difficult, isn't it? The process of losing weight is not very difficult. So it's us, we have complicated our lives so much that the simple process of bhakti becomes very difficult. But if we keep it simple, then not very difficult. And that's what we are trying, right? So we're trying.
I also heard, Prabhuji, it's simple but not easy.
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah, I agree, because Satatam and Nityam is like very important, but the Anusasan, we deviate from the Anusasan. That is kind of not easy. So it's very important to be in association. So somebody we're going to pull you back again in. Otherwise, you're going to lose the track.
That's so true. It's absolutely true. So we should meditate on 8.9, Anushasitaram. Krishna, you are the one who keeps everyone in Anushasan. Please don't let me move here and there. Keep me under your check, your divine check. We are the medium of Guru Parampara, because that's how he keeps. Shishya means one who likes to be under the shasan of the Guru. That's Shishya. But the problem is we don't like shasan. We like our own shasan. We don't like Anusasana. We like our own, I know what is right for me. I know what's good for me. What will he tell? She tell. So that becomes the process, makes it complex. Right? Then the process becomes complex. Then the advancement becomes complex. And the progress is slow. It's a very important point. Thank you for sharing that. Disciple means who likes to live under discipline, or Shishya, Shasan. Okay, any other last point for today before we officially wrap up? Anyone wants to say anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare
Danvat Pranam,
Krishna.
devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. I just wanted to make one point. It was coming to me as everybody was sharing that yes, bhakti may be simple or not easy, all these things, but also we have to remember that it is the topmost path of spiritual realization. So once you've come into bhakti, once we've come into association of Bhagavad Gita, association of devotees, association of Bhagavatam, we should not let it go. So one trap of Maya is that we get deviated by our senses and find it hard to follow the path because we are so used to sense gratification. But then the other trap of Maya is also to get deviated by other spiritual processes like you were describing, like sitting in dhyan or so many gurus are around that claim that they can deliver us, and through various other paths, the various other type of yogas. So not always that material distractions are the distractions from Maya. Sometimes various other spiritual paths, or just like the karma mimamsa philosophy is very prevalent. Especially I see in my family that, okay, just do your karma. That is the way of life. That is the way of Bhagavad Gita. But we have to understand that Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. And in the next few verses, Krishna will describe how it is so rare to get human form of life, and then so rare to get association of devotees in that human form of life, to get association of Guru, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and to realize that Krishna is everything. So once we have come into that knowledge, we should not look back at anything else, whether material or any other spiritual paths. That's all I wanted to share, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
That's excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that wonderful point. Especially, as you said, especially in this day and age, where YouTube and internet and Google, what we will get, these are different traps to get easily carried away. And the attention span of everyone has gone very, very from minutes to seconds, and going from seconds to microseconds. Especially in this COVID time frame, the attention span there has been some research done that the attention span of everyone has gone. The mind has 80,000 thoughts every minute, every hour, whatever hour, minute, still it's a lot. So yes, we have to understand that the process is simple, easy, or not easy, whatever way we call it. We just have to have utsaha, nishcha, and dharya also, right? Utsaha should be there, nishcha should be there, determination, enthusiasm, but very important, patience. It's not that, okay, today I start the process and tomorrow I've been chanting for 2 years or 5 years. It's what is going on. One has to have till the last breath of one's life. The result will come. One can feel and perceive the results in the journey also, but sometimes they are easy, sometimes they are hard, sometimes they are perceptible, sometimes not so perceivable. But if we keep going, then certainly one will get the destination. Okay, so we'll wrap up here. Thank you so much. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha paritana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.